When I inherited my great-uncle's sprawling ranch out near Lake Buchanan, I thought I traded my old life of cubicles and code for something simpler: open skies, untamed land, and the kind of quiet that sinks into your bones. I'd spent a decade in Dallas as a software developer, surrounded by glass towers and the hum of servers, always chasing deadlines and dodging traffic. The ranch was my escape. 500 acres of rolling hills, a cedar-shaded farmhouse, and a barn that creaked like it was telling stories of its own. My great-uncle, Elias Buck Tanner, had been a force of nature, a wiry, sun-leathered man who'd once chased off a tax collector with a shotgun and a grin. He'd left me the place with a single note scratched on yellowed paper. "Saw, keep it free, Sam. Don't let the bastards grind you down." So I figured I'd honor that by VYing slow, fixing fences, maybe even learning to ride a horse without looking like a fool. What I didn't expect was a war delivered in a beige sedan by a woman named Patricia Voss. It started 3 weeks after I'd settled in. I was out by the creek, knee-deep in mud, trying to free a rusted irrigation pump, when I heard tires crunching gravel. A car rolled up the drivey, a spotless beige Toyota that looked like it belonged in a suburban cul-de-sac. Not out here where the dust stuck to everything. Out stepped Patricia, all crisp blazer and manicured nails, clutching a clipboard like it was a shield. Her hair was a helmet of blonde highlights, and her smile was so practiced it could have been trademarked. "Mr. Tanner," she called, voice sharp enough to cut through the cicadas. "Samuel Tanner? I'm Patricia Voss, president of the Silver Ridge Homeowners Association. We need to discuss your property's obligations." I wiped my hands on my jeans and squinted at her. "Obligations? Lady, this is a ranch, not a gated community. I don't even have neighbors within shouting distance." She didn't flinch, just flipped open her clipboard and handed me a stack of papers. "Your great-uncle signed an agreement in 2011 to join Silver Ridge HOA. That makes you liable for due law $108,000 in unpaid dues, plus interest. We're thrilled to have you here, of course, but we do expect compliance." A laugh-eat, a real, gut-deep laugh that echoed off the barn. Buck Tanner in an HOA? The man who once set a surveyor's clipboard on fire because it looked too official? You got the wrong guy. Patricia's smile tightened, and she slid a single sheet from her pile, a grainy photocopy of an agreement with Buck's name scrawled at the bottom. The signature was a mess, like someone had tried to forge it with a shaky hand and a grudge. No notary, no date stamp, just a flimsy lie on cheap paper. "This proves his intent," she said, voice smooth as venom. "Payments due in 45 days, or we'll escalate. The board has a legal team, Mr. Tanner. I suggest you get on board." I took the paper, held it up to the sun like I was inspecting a counterfeit bill, and handed it back. "Escalate all you want. Buck didn't sign this, and I'm not paying you a dime." She nodded like she'd expected that, and drove off, VYing a cloud of dust and a bad feeling in my gut. That night, I called my old college buddy, Mateo Alvarez, a lawyer who'd traded corporate suits for a small practice in Burnett. "Sam, this is bullshit," he said after I texted him a photo of the document. "That signature's faker than a politician's tears. I'll pull the title tomorrow. Bet you a bottle of bourbon this ranch isn't under any HOA." He was right. The title was clean. Buck had fought tooth and nail in the 90s to keep his land exempt from encroaching sub-VY science. Mateo found no record of the agreement in county files either. It should have ended there, but Patricia wasn't the type to slink away. The letter started a week later. First, a violation for my overgrown pasture, then one claiming my porch light OLAT light pollution standards. I got a kick out of that one nearest house was 3 miles off. Then it got weird. A county inspector showed up, saying someone reported my well was unpermitted. He left after 10 minutes when I showed him Buck's paperwork. But the message was clear: Patricia was playing dirty. Things turned personal fast. One morning, I found my gate padlock smashed, tire tracks leading off into the brush. 2 days later, my mailbox was pried open, letters shredded and scattered like confetti. Then came the kicker: a gutted catfish nailed to my front door with a note in block letters: "Saw settle up or regret it." So I stood there, staring at the fish, the smell hitting me like a punch, and felt something shift. This wasn't about money anymore. It was a siege. I didn't just sit there stewing. I ordered a set of trail cameras off Amazon Motion Activated, night VY Sound, the works, and rigged them around the property. I told my ranch hand, Ja VY to keep a log of anything odd. Ja VY's family had worked for Buck since the 70s. He was a quiet guy with a knack for fixing anything and a stare that could peel paint. "This lady's unhinged, Sam," he said, shaking his head. "My cousin dealt with an HOA like this once. They don't stop till you're broke or gone." I nodded. "Then we don't stop either." Mateo filed a formal request with the county for every document tied to Silver Ridge HOA in my land. Meanwhile, I started asking around. I drove out to see the Hendersons, an older couple who'd known Buck forever. Over coffee in their cluttered kitchen, Mrs. Henderson fidgeted with her mug. "That Voss woman tried to pull the same thing on us 5 years back," she said. "Said we owed Dula $12,000 for back dues. Showed us a paper with my husband's signature, looked like a kid drew it. We paid to make it stop. Couldn't afford a lawyer." "Mr. Henderson grunted. "She's a vulture, Sam. Picks on folks who can't fight." Next, I tracked down Lila Monroe, a former Silver Ridge treasurer who'd quit after a falling out with Patricia. She met me at a diner in town, her eyes darting like she expected spies in the booths. "Patricia's been forging docs for years," she whispered, sliding me a USB drive. Scanned signatures from old permits, emails where she bragged about expanding jurisdiction. I kept copies when I left. Thought someone might need him someday. I bought her pie as thanks and drove home with a fire in my chest. This wasn't just my fight anymore. The cameras paid off 2 nights later. At 1:17 a.m., they caught Patricia creeping up to my mailbox in a dark hoodie, stuffing something inside while muttering, "Try dodging this, cowboy." I saved the footage, time-stamped it, and sent it to Mateo. "We've got her dead to rights," he said, voice crackling with glee. "Tampering with mail's a federal offense. This plus the forgery? She's toast." But Patricia didn't know when to quit. A week later, I woke to a roar outside, a bulldozer tearing up my west pasture, flanked by a nervous kid in a hard hat. "HOA erosion control project," he stammered when I stormed out of my boxers, while VYing Buck's old deer rifle for effect. "MS. Voss said you signed off." I called the sheriff while the kid radioed his boss. Deputy Rawls, a grizzled guy who'd fished with Buck back in the day, showed up and shut it down. Patricia arrived minutes later, pearls gleaming, spinning a tale about community safety. Rawls cut her off. "You're on private land, ma'am. Step off or I cuff you." She left, but not before shooting me a look that could have curdled milk. That was the last straw. Mateo and I filed a lawsuit: fraud, extortion, trespassing, the works, along with a criminal complaint. We had the fake agreement, Lila's USB, the mailbox VY Deo, and Afida VYTS from the Hendersons and others Patricia had fleeced. The day she got served, I was mending a fence when her Toyota screeched up. A process server handed her the papers. She ripped them open, face going purple. "This is libel," she shrieked. I leaned on my postal digger and grinned. "No, Patricia. It's EVY Denke." Core was a circus. Patricia strutted in with a pair of slick lawyers, while I showed up in boots and a flannel, Mateo hauling our files in a beat-up briefcase. The gallery filled with locals, some HOA drones, some VY Tims, all buzzing. Our handwriting expert tore the forged signature apart, calling it a toddler's doodle. Lila testified about Patricia's schemes, her voice steady despite the glares from the defense table. The mailbox VY Deo played on a loop, Patricia's hissed threat echoing through the room. Her lawyers flailed objections overruled, excuses shredded. When I took the stand, I kept it simple. She tried to steal what Buck built. She bullied good people. I'm here to stop her. Patricia's turn was a meltdown. She ranted about upholding values, blamed me for undermining harmony, and snapped. If he'd paid, we wouldn't be here. Mateo pounced. So it saw a shakedown. Her lawyer sank into his chair as the courtroom snickered. The verdict hit like a hammer. Guilty on all counts. Patricia got slapped with due lawn $90,000 in fines, 200 hours of community care VYC, and a referral to the DA. The HOA coughed up due law $400,000 in restitution for me and a dozen others she'd scammed. I didn't cheer, just nodded at Mateo and thought, Saw Buck would have loved this. Sal. The aftermath was quiet at first. No more letters, no more threats. My goat, Mabel, chewed her cud like she'd personally won the case. Then the ripple started. Emails from strangers thanking me, a news crew filming me, and Mabel by the barn for a Texans Who Fight segment. I told them, know your rights, keep records, and get a goat with grit. At a town hall, folks clapped slow, real claps in the new HOA head promised a clean slate. Patricia? Word was she'd bolted to Florida, probably terrorizing pelicans with bylaws. Months later, a postcard arrived from Belize. Saw should have paid, Sam. Enjoy your mud. Saw I laughed till I coughed, pinned it next to the court ruling, and a sketch of Mabel head-butting an HOA sign. Peace settled in wild grass, open sky, and a ranch still free. Buck was right. The bastards never stood a chance. If you were the one in this story, how would you react? Would you stand up and fight back, or accept the unreasonable pressure and control from the HOA? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video with more people. Your small action gives us the motivation to keep bringing you more intense and engaging stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.